start. 6 o'clock, call the April 26th meeting to order. Ask clerk to take a roll.
Walters.
Here.
Dvorak.
Here.
Vogel. Here. Anderson.
Here.
Sarchet.
Here. First item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. I have no additions or corrections. And take the motion, please. So moved. Second. Roll call.
Walters.
Yes.
Dvorak.
Yes.
Vogel. Yes. Anderson.
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes. Motion carries. Next item is presentation from the famous Ken North Polk City Tree Board, Arbor League, presenting Polk City, Tree City, USA.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll kick this off. I've got to look my shots. I'm here to make the Tree City USA presentation again. Jason, did the other plaque piece, did that? Okay, it's up, all right. Okay, good. I'm here to make the Tree City USA presentation. There used to be door prizes, but they don't give them to us anymore, so you don't get them either. We've been Tree City USA for 28 years. We've gotten the Growth Award, which is above and beyond Tree City USA for 6 years. I've got my partner in planning, Phil Jensen, with me. Phil has been a long-term member of the Arbor League and my right-hand man with all of our tree planting projects. I'm going to just read to you a letter that we recently put together. We're soliciting for some funds, so I'm going to just read this real quick. The Polk City Arbor League was founded in 1988 and incorporated in 2014 as a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Our mission at the Polk City Arbor League is to promote and enhance the tree canopy in Polk City by planting trees in city parks and taking care of their long-term maintenance, thereby providing beautification, wildlife habitat, and shade to future generations of children that we will never meet. We are a small organization that has made a big difference in our community. The Polk City Arbor League has planted and continues to do annual maintenance on nearly all of the trees within the city parks and public grounds. Projects of the Polk City Arbor League have included over 800 tree plantings on public grounds since its inception in 1988. These areas within the city include the sports complex, which was the first planting that we did. Leonard Park, Linear Park on Parker Boulevard, Morse Family Park, the Rock Park, Miller Park, 12 Oaks Park, the City Square, Doc Simmer Park, North Polk West Elementary School and the maintenance shop, and East Broadway at Deer Haven Green Space. The Polk City Arbor League is currently raising funds for 2 important causes. New residential developments have created new green spaces within our community that would benefit from tree plantings. Additionally, we are planning a community residential tree sale to support and encourage homeowners to replace trees lost in the derecho show of 2020. Our goal is to raise enough funds to purchase and subsidize costs for more than 300 new trees for the community, and as such, we are currently requesting corporate donations to help fund these projects. We do not receive any tax dollars or governmental funds of any kind. We rely solely on private grants, donations, and fundraisers from individuals and businesses who support our mission. 100% of all donations are used to directly support the purchase of trees. All administrative, equipment, expertise, and labor costs are donated by our dedicated volunteers. The Polk City Arbor League is requesting your financial support to help us continue our mission to build upon and maintain the tree canopy of Polk City. We are happy to provide you with a tax-deductible donation receipt. With that, I'd be happy to accept your donations. Post Office Box 251, if you'd like to mail them in, that'd be just fine. Last year, our project was we planted the green space at East Broadway at Deer Haven with the help of Public Works. And again, I can't emphasize enough how much we rely on Public Works to support us with this. Years ago, we did it by ourselves. We can't, and if it weren't for Public Works, it wouldn't get done. And I really appreciate all their help. I don't know the slightest thing about Facebook, but now we've got a Facebook page. It's under Polk City Arbor League. You can look it up and tell me about it because I don't know anything about Facebook. It looks like this year we may be planting some trees, possibly at the City Square and at the Lost Lakes Park. We're hoping to have a residential tree sale in the fall. And again, our mailing address for donations is Post Office Box 251, or you can put it directly in my hand at any time. Are there any questions regarding the Arbor League or donations or what we're doing? With that, you get the coveted Tree City USA flag. This will go to Public Works. They know the routine. This is a larger flag than the one that's out there. It's kind of a long story, but anyway, Arbor Day Foundation program. I don't know that it said that on the old flags, but so there's the new Tree City USA flag. I'll give this to the Public Works Director, and he knows what to do with that. Thank you, Mike. Any questions for myself or Phil for the Arbor League?
Well, it goes without saying, you're the unsung heroes of trees, both you and Phil in this community, and have been, and many people don't know, but those that are watching or will watch need to really, when they look at these parks, when they look at some of the trees that you planted how many years ago, that's what we use now. And if you have a vision then, and you put a lot of time and effort and dedication in this community, you always have, and greatly appreciate what you all do and solicitation of funds and things you will do in the future. But thank you so much, because it wouldn't be here if it wasn't for your guys' dedication.
Thank you.
It would be such a, so thanks so much.
On that, I would like to just touch on that real quick. The first project that we did was the sports complex, and nearly every tree at the sports complex that was planted by the Arbor League. So I think maybe the second project we did was Kiwanis Park. Pat Hopper played that and designed that project. And all of those trees, other than the original silver maples along the bike trail, we've planted. And again, with the maintenance part of that program, those trees at Leonard Park, or excuse me, Kiwanis Park, were put in, I don't know, 20 plus 25 years ago. And when those trees and the trees at the sports complex were put in, you know, they were 1-inch caliper trees that were 5 feet tall. And after continual maintenance of literally every single year, Phil and I put our hands on all these trees. We've got oaks down here at Leonard Park now that are, you know, that are this big around and are 40 feet tall and have probably gotten their last pruning, you know, because they're adults. And we have babied these trees for 25 plus years, and now we've got adult trees to show for it at $0 cost to the city. And we bought the trees, you know, through the Polk County Arbor Society, and our cost was minimal. And when you look at, you know, those trees at Kiwanis Park and Leonard Park are just getting started, all the trees at the school along the north side of the gymnasium, those are columnar maples that we put in that are absolutely gorgeous. When you look at Alleman, you know, their school versus ours, the planting program is very, very impactful. And as I've said to a lot of people, if we had done in Des Moines what we've done here, it would likely go unnoticed. But in a community like this, it makes a huge impact. And we've recently taken on some new members. We're on the grow here, and we're bringing in some new blood, some new thinkers, which is good because Phil and I are at the tail end of this deal.
You're gonna retire?
I'm thinking about it. I'm
Yeah,
working on it. I'm trying. I'm working on it. I didn't advertise.
I heard you were 99% retired.
That's something. I'm working closer.
I read that.
Yeah, anyway, I'm trying to get retired too, but even beyond retirement, you know, is volunteerism, and volunteerism and retirement don't go hand in hand. And I'll always be involved in volunteerism. I might retire from, you know, paying work, but volunteerism is different. And the trees that we planted, we still have that long-term commitment. We will continue to do maintenance on the trees that we put in. Again, thank you to Public Works for all their support, because we couldn't have done it without them. That's all I've got. And when you're out and about, take a look at our most recent planning, the green space at East Broadway at Deerhaven down there. We put in, I'm not sure what the number was, about 15 trees. I don't know exactly. But we did those last year, again, with Public Works help, and they all survived the winter. They look real good. I know it beautified the neighborhood. The neighbors have got to be happy. And in the long term, we're going to have a beautiful grove of trees down there too. So we start off small, grow them big, and that's what we do. And we appreciate your support. I'll always accept the donations. PO Box 251.
I do want to echo the thank you. And again, you guys are, people in this community care about trees and their development. You guys are the solution, and you've quietly gone about your business doing it because it's something that you are passionate about, but the impact is for the entire community to enjoy. So I mean, we can't thank you enough for the countless hours you've put in. And I know that a lot of people have no idea what you've done and done, and you know, it's easy to take for granted. So
It is easy to take granted, and it is countless hours. But thank you.
It is.
Thank you for your comments. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No, I echo all that, just say thanks for not doing trivia, making us look.
If they had given us a free hat, we'd have had the question and answer. The free hats went away.
I've often wondered how many elementary age kids got to participate in tree plantings over the last 28 years and otherwise might have never got involved in planting a tree.
And we're doing that again on Arbor Day, which is this coming Friday, 9:45 at the Rock Park. We're planting for the kids again, and you know, we always make our mulch donut around the trees, and the reason for that donut is it holds the water in, keeps the mowers away. But when we ask the kids, why do we make the mulch ring look like a donut? They know the answer is because the tree guy likes donuts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate your support.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So much for the donut comment. Next item on the agenda is public comments. Time and place for comments for any item other than those in a public hearing. Ask the clerk if anyone is asked to speak tonight.
No, sir.
Fantastic. Moving on to the consent agenda. Take a motion, please.
So moved.
Questions? Roll call, please.
DeVore,
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item is under business item resolution 2021-31. Approving 28E agreement with North Polk Community School District for intersection improvements North Third and East Vista Lake Drive. Chelsea, you want to just kind of hammer through all of it?
So the city and the school are looking to enter into a 28E agreement for cost sharing intersection improvements at East Vista Lake Drive and Third Street. We are proposing a roundabout at this intersection. The city and school have been working on an agreement since October 2020, when the school district came with their site plan for council approval. And we've agreed to terms on the school paying $435,722 over a 7-year period. Their first payment would be made before June 1st, 2023. North Polk Board of Education has approved the agreement.
Excellent. I need a motion on resolution 2021-31, please.
So moved.
Second.
Questions?
Well, no questions. I've got a little bit to say on this one, and we haven't talked about this since November, I think. So I do want to spend a little time commenting to the progress. Before I do, I want to acknowledge that I think there are rare opportunities in a position similar to ours to make decisions that are so impactful that you can spend the rest of a year or an extended period of time screwing things up and you're still okay. And I think what the school board did in August to go back in person is one of those decisions. My 3 girls and however many kids are in the district, 1,000 whatever, are better off for the process they went through, for the thought that they gave, the relatively depoliticized, if that's the word, approach that they took to that question that all districts were heavily weighted to decide. And I can't say enough positive things about how they did that and the approach that they took. And I also recognize the financial situation that they're in. They're charging the highest amount of property taxes that they're allowed to. And for projects like this, that puts them in a very tough position. So I think those are 2 factors that obviously weigh into the process here and need to be noted. But that being said, this intersection was a tough process. And the low point for me was watching March's school board meeting. And so I think the fact that we're here is nothing short of a miracle. And I want to make sure to commend a lot of people, and I probably shouldn't single people out, but Chelsea in particular for the work that she did, and James Hill, I think, played a key role. And I just want to clarify from my perspective a few things. And I don't know all of the people on the school board. The ones I do know, I consider to be friends, and I hope that's true, as true. when this is done as before it started. And I think they're doing what they think is right. But again, just want to clarify a few things. So we've got some other things that are going to approve tonight, and the approvals, the site plan in particular, they gave any delay on the city's part for the school progress. And that was out there. I don't know if anybody else heard that, but I heard that directly from the school board. I heard it from other people. And so it never was true. It is never true. And I don't want to forecast the future, but it's never going to be true. The city's requirements on this intersection will play no part in the intermediate school. I hope to God that it's ready to go day one and what would be August 23. I'll have a third grader and a fifth grader. But the city was not delaying the progress, and we changed the site plan, and we'll go through that here in a little bit, but the intersection played no role. And that's the biggest piece that I want to be clear on. I don't know how it seems like the burden of proof came to the city, but Chelsea did yeoman's work to provide examples. We went to added expense with engineering and provided, I think, what were fair calculations. And I don't think that was always reciprocated. So I do think that it's important to, when you have a process, when you have a number, when you have a proposal, that you convey how that number, how that proposal came to be. And I think we did that. Again, it was not always responded to it in the same fashion. So that's disappointing. I do think the communication between the engineering firms has to be better on this. And I've seen that in other examples, and I'm not going to go too much more in detail, but that played a role in all of this. That was a little bit disappointing. And then just, I think there was a question about the notion, does an intersection improvement need to be here? And I appreciate we just went through a facilities needs assessment that looked out 30 years. It may not be true day one. It will be true day one at 8 o'clock the first time you have school, but this is something that you can't do as the need arises. You have to be strategic. You have to be planning for these things. And that was the approach that I think we took. I don't think it was recognized as such. It was, I don't know what constitutes an extravagant intersection, but I don't see that as any way, shape, or form here. So that all led us to the agreement. And so we're going to vote on agreement. And just have to acknowledge that if this were any other development, any other scenario, any other entity other than a school paying for $435,000 out of a $1.5 million intersection, not even worth talking about. But we're here, and to be a good neighbor, I think is the only trump card to play to get this to go ahead. And so I just think it's appropriate to acknowledge that position. And again, our approach here, I know this is maybe a little bit of Monday morning quarterback, but just things that I felt I needed to get off my chest and my perspective on it.
Your motion second, roll call please.
DeVore.
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, resolution 2021-32, approving an agreement with Knapp Properties for intersection improvements at North Third and East Vista Lake Drive.
Yep.
Okay.
So the city's also been working with the developer, Knapp Properties, to cost share for the same intersection improvements at North Third and East Vista Lake Drive. Knapp has agreed to pay $165,000 over the same 7-year period as North Polk.
Motion please.
Second.
On this. Roll call please.
DeVore.
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, resolution 2021-33, approving petition and waiver with North Polk for right turn lane on East Vista Lake Drive.
Thank you.
Yep.
So with the amended site plan proposed by North Polk on the agenda next this evening, and after review of that amended site plan, we believe that the additional students added to the planned building created the need for a right turn lane on East Vista Lake Drive. So although we don't necessarily think the turn lane is adamant to happen on day one, we think that it could be an issue someday. So we've been working on a petition and waiver agreement with North Polk for the right turn lane. The criteria for when the right turn lane would be monitored, it would be monitored by the police department, and we'd notify the school district once it becomes a problem. The city would construct the turn lane, and the school district would be responsible for the full costs associated with the turn lane.
Motion, please.
Second.
Questions? Roll call, please.
Vogel,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
DeVore.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, resolution 2021-34, approving amendment to the North Polk Intermediate Site Plan.
I think we have a representative from the school on the call this evening.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening. It's Erin Owendyke with Civil Design Advantage. My address, 3405 Southeast Crossroads Drive, Suite G in Grimes. Here tonight on behalf of the North Polk School District. We are here to request approval of an amended site plan for the North Polk Intermediate School. Just really briefly, I'll run down a short list of the items that have changed from what you have approved. There were 2 classrooms added on the first floor of the building in the northwest corner. The gymnasium bumped out to the east 20 feet. We have detailed plans in the site plan for the playground improvements, which is kind of in the southwest corner of the building. We have added a little bit of pavement for 2 additional parent drop-off spaces, and then the bike rack was relocated from the upper elevation to the lower elevation. I'd be happy to answer any questions, and I believe we've addressed all of Snyder's comments from their memo.
Thanks, Aaron. Any motion, please? Sir, questions? Roll call, please.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
DeVore.
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, Snyder and Associates Engineering Services Agreement at the amount of $141,500 for the roundabout at North 3rd Street and East Vista Lake Drive.
So in your packet for review is an engineering agreement for a project we have been talking about, the roundabout at that intersection. The proposal is for a do not exceed amount of $141,500. You may have noticed in my memo, the proposal does not include any construction observation or construction staking. We are currently evaluating what our construction observer can do in-house. Therefore, we may need to further get council approval after we've made that determination. The city will be issuing general obligation bonds to pay for the project in addition to the water well project and the Bridge Road Water Loop project. We are able to issue for this project without increasing the city's debt service levy. The total cost of the project is estimated to be $1.5 million. And as you know, the city has entered into a cost sharing agreement with the school district and NAP for this project.
Need a motion, please?
Second.
Questions?
So the 141 is the sub total of the 1.5. That's included in the 1.5.
Yes.
Roll call, please.
DeVore.
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters.
Abstain. Motion carries. Next item. Snyder and Associates Engineering Invoice Services Agreement in the amount of $11,140 for the West Bridge Road Water Main.
Mike is going to give
Yeah,
a report on
Mike.
this.
Yeah, so this is a project that was on the CIP list, it ranked highly on that list. It is included in the 2021 budget, but we want to get moving on it. Because we want the engineering done and we want to make this construction season, if it's at all possible. This will complete a loop in the southwest end of town with 2 water mains on Parker Boulevard. And then in front of the church along Bridge Road, those 2 would then be looped together. Which of course you've heard me say before, this will increase the water flow in those areas as far as the flow. And it will also clear up some of those issues with the quality of water that would happen in dead ends. So it's needed, it has been needed, and this is our opportunity to go ahead and take care of that.
A motion, please.
So
I'll second. I do have a question. So where does this fit in or impact with the infiltration and I can't remember what the other I is, study,
Inflow and infiltration?
inflow, yeah.
Yeah.
Does it impact it at all?
No, the 2 separate projects.
But do they play, does this help with what we? When are we doing the I study and then will this change the results?
Phase 1 of the I&I study is in progress right now. That's on the sanitary sewer system. And this is a water main loop. So
Okay.
this is drinking water loop.
Okay, so
2 separate
Okay.
issues.
Roll call, please.
Sarchet,
yes.
Walters,
Staying.
Dvorak,
Yes.
Vogel,
yes,
Anderson.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, second reading of ordinance 2021-1300, rezoning 77.66 acres of NAP properties located north and east of 220 East Vista Lake Avenue from A1 to R1, from A1 to R1A, and from R1 to R1A. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second,
Roll call, please.
Dvorak,
yes.
Vogel,
yes,
Anderson,
No.
Sarchet.
No.
Walters.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, reports of particulars. We have a couple of proclamations in here. Real quick. I'll just read the last paragraph like I do, and these will all be posted for everybody's enjoyment. First one is for Arbor Day, April 30th. Now, therefore, I, Jason Morse, Mayor of Polk City, do hereby proclaim April 30th, 21 as Arbor Day in the city of Polk City. I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day, support the efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. Second proclamation. Clerk. This is for the week of May 2nd through the 8th. Now, therefore, I, Jason Morse, Mayor of City of Polk City, do hereby recognize the week of May 2nd through May 2021 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our professional municipal clerk and all professional municipal clerks. The vital services they perform, their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. Good job. How about that? Okay, great. And the last one, ooh, do we applaud you too on this one?
Still boo.
Sounds a little, save the hardest one. Week May 9th through the 15th is Police Week. We do recognize the week of May 9th through the 15th as National Police Week in Polk City, Iowa. Publicly salute the service of law enforcement officers in our community and in communities across the nation. Encourage all citizens to recognize the officers' faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities. Good job. That's all I have for proclamations. Anybody else have anything for the go to the cause? I don't know. Look out at you guys first since you're here. Anyone?
Yeah, I do. Would you like me to take the lectern or for my seat?
Whatever you're comfortable.
Okay. Boy, I wish I would have chosen another meeting to do this because it is the definition of irony. After the derecho, we brought in an independent group to take the help of the remaining canopy on the city square. And something that should be no surprise, the silver maple on the west side that is being cabled together came as a tree of concern again. This time, it's the increased water rot that we're seeing on the trunk. So I mean, that tree is cabled because there's a lot of mass up in the air, and if the trunk itself is rotting, that's kind of a recipe for disaster. So I've been working with Public Works a little bit, the tree board, and we are moving forward with removing that tree in the month of May. We got competitive bids where we found one we liked, and the aftermath of which is I'm working again with Public Works and the tree board for a replacement plan. We would like to spade in a tree that is a little bit more mature to give some instant benefits, shade. Yeah, we understand that that's going to change the silhouette of the square, but with the number of people that are in the square, a tree of this nature, it's probably time. It's lived its life. It's time for Polk City to move on and well replant in its place. The other thing, to end on a high note, I've been working with Principal Richards at the middle school. 8th grade is resuming their service day this year after a hiatus last year. We'll have an army of 150 to 160 kids on May 26th. Randy, Mike, and I are creating all of the responsibilities and the projects for that day. We're gonna get a lot done. We're excited. That's all I got.
Chief labor.
Public Works will have 159 of those students and Jason gets one.
It is something to watch that whole process. That
It
day,
is.
you know.
It is.
Get a chance to be out and watch.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything else?
I don't know if it's still true or not, but that was the biggest class at North Polk, the 8th graders this year. I don't know if it's still true.
So
There's a
far,
lot of them, so they'll get a lot done.
Good.
I did have a citizen reach out and potentially, I don't know if everybody else got it as well, but a message about the area between Southside Drive and Pine Ridge Boulevard, the connection there, just asking very nicely about a potential sidewalk or, you know, something to connect that, because there's, I've done it a million times, just walk through the yard, there's actually grass, dead grass area of a trail that people, and as I bring it up on Google, you know, I lived there for 15 years, but like, we are kind of missing a little bit of connectivity from South Side so I think it's just something that, you know, Jason, we can talk about that as well in parks, but I told this individual I would certainly bring it up to the attention, because we've never talked about it before. I was actually kind of surprised when I thought about, you know, when he brought it to me, I'm like, well, that's a wonderful idea, because it is trying to go across, you know, you have to go across the road if you want to get around. With the commercial development, and if they have then the sidewalks or paths in front of that, we're essentially getting very close to having connectivity on the east side of the road. So anyway, I just wanted to bring it up because I told them I would. I thought it was really a good thing, good idea as well. And to Rob's point, I want to thank Chelsea and the school for getting everything wrapped up in that kind of a difficult situation, but everybody coming together with NAP, with the school. It was not without its troubles, I guess, but I think we all learned that keeping a positive perspective and mentality gets you a lot farther than potentially looking at the other side. So appreciate all parties involved. They're all to get through that and make it successful in the long run.
Anybody have anything else?
Yeah, I'll kind of
Go
echo
ahead,
that.
sorry.
So again, with the school, I know Chelsea, and yeah, there was a lot of extra work I think that was put into it on our side, but again, for the end goal, both us and the school board, you know, we're trying to do what we feel is right for those we represent, and unfortunately, this is one of those situations where we maybe weren't initially aligned, and it took a long time to get here, but I am appreciative that we were able to keep things moving forward, and again, I know a lot of effort went in on all sides to try to get there, but yeah, just thankful to be moving forward with that. A couple other just miscellaneous things. I've I was thrilled that the library was open. My kids went, they got a pile of books. My nanny had to cut them off on the books that they grabbed from there. They took STEM kits, so that's really exciting to have things like that, you know, just a better sense of normalcy and also things that our citizens can greatly enjoy. And I know we talked about the facilities needs assessment here, and I say it all the time, but I continue to be impressed with how well our department heads work together. You look out for each other, you see the big picture, you want what's best. Overall, there's no, well, I really need this, and, you know, elbowing for your position. So once again, thank you guys all for your efforts to come up with what we had in front of us, but to really work together to help us ultimately make the best decisions for the entire city. So, thank you.
I want to add on to that. Ran a little bit long during the work session. I think we have a great plan in place. I think you guys have all done a great job putting the best foot forward, not stepping on top of each other, saying, I need. Great. I think the challenge now is for us and for our successors to make that plan happen. Because in talking to some citizens and thinking about this over the past few weeks, I think we have just gotten by for too long. And that's not the fault of our predecessors. It's not the fault of staff. We just got used to things. We got used to the Miller Park Library. We got used to the new library that's 15 years old. Are we close to that? And it feels like it opened up yesterday. 15 years goes by quick. We're out of space. Police station, fire department. Mike, you're fine, but is that what you got on that presentation? That's right. But no, in all fairness to everybody, I think we have some great challenges ahead of us. We know that the rec center and the library are by far the shiniest object and will probably get the most support. We have to do our jobs to make sure those other buildings get built. Otherwise, we're going to be just another ho-hum small town that has complacency, and we're going to get looked past on things. So we really need to work hard together to make it happen. Anything else?
I do have one thing. So been talking to some folks in Bridgeview on another topic, and I would like to, and I will leave it completely up to Chelsea, the how and the when, but re-engage the Army Corps of Engineers on the property along Bridge Road in between Bridgeview, with the development going around there. They cut down all those trees 2 years ago and haven't done a thing with them. And I think that's unacceptable. Their reasons have changed. So I don't think it's going to change based on how they've worked in the past, but it is our responsibility to do what we can to try and fix, the mess that is down there. So to the extent that my involvement would be helpful, that's probably zero. But I don't work on you, but
I'll get some more details.
however you, yeah.
Has anybody else gotten calls or emails on those trees? I have. They think we did. They think the city did that. I've explained it, but it wasn't us. It was the Corps, it's their ground, and they've done it.
Well,
you're right. We have responsibility to lean on them.
yeah, and I didn't know they had gone so far as to cite neighbors for doing the Army Corps job.
Yeah.
And so just when you think you can't be any more disappointed by a governmental entity, you keep digging and you find more stuff, but
You're right, see, that's fine.
yeah. So,
Or worse.
anyway, it is what it is. Maybe there's an opportunity, obviously, community visioning has poked around there too, and not gotten much back, but it's an eyesore, and it's one of our primary entrances. And not only that, and that's honestly how I've been thinking about it, it's a handful of people's backyard. And so shame on me for not giving it that perspective as well. And maybe it's been longer, but it was 3. It was promised to be, this fix, and it was the exact opposite. So whatever, but that's Again, it's just.
Okay,
Were you on the council when they were so willing to give us that ground?
Really?
Oh, yeah, they were very willing to give us that ground. Fix the drainage problem. What about other stuff?
After-
It wasn't, it was,
Yeah.
Well,
take it.
if there's, I don't know what cost, but if they're willing to sell it, there's Bridgeview folks that are interested. So if that's an option, I didn't, they burned down a house because they didn't want to sell property 4 or 5 years ago. So maybe I'm wrong, but if that's them
They didn't want-
changing hands.
They just wanted to give it to us, didn't they?
You had to take it, you had to restore it back to
Yeah.
original, I mean, it was not a,
It was not a given.
No.
There was
big
Cost
stipulations that we're gonna go with.
Yeah, the fixing of the drainage was gonna be.
Very,
Yeah.
very costly.
Yeah.
But that could change with the development in there, right? They've already taken that, but we just. I know you'll handle it.
Okay.
Despite my position a bit.
Does anybody have anything else? Now that take a motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
Favor?
Always a pleasure.
I know, when you work from home, you're not.